I mean, they will have to play it on Twitter because I don't think it autoplay. But yeah, it's
Yeah, we just
available.
do the recording.
Yeah, are we syncing up with Twitter or something?
It should. Let me double check. They will
Really?
have
Oh,
to
that's new.
play it on Twitter because I don't think it autoplay. But yeah, I'll paste.
Yeah, we just do the
I mean,
recording.
for me at least, it's working.
Yeah, are we
so.
syncing up with Twitter or something?
It
Okay.
should. Just give it a try.
Double
I mean,
check.
they will
Really?
have
Oh,
to
that's new.
play it on Twitter because I don't think it autoplay. But yeah,
I'm scared to click
Yeah,
on
we
the
just
link.
do the
I mean,
recording.
for me at least, it's working.
Yeah, are we syncing up with Twitter or something?
Do I need to do the YouTube live
should.
streaming?
Try.
Or just
They will
recording
have
the
to
audio is good.
New.
play it on Twitter because I don't think I thought maybe there will be people joining on Twitter. But yeah,
I'm scared to click
Yeah,
on
we
the
just
link.
do the
I mean,
recording.
for me
I
at least,
think
it's working.
Gary has done it.
Yeah, it's Gary is doing it on YouTube, and from YouTube is going to Twitter. So
Oh, okay. It's all happening.
right, okay, I'll bring Craig on, and we can start.
Cool.
Now recording.
All right. We got Craig going now. I guess we'll go ahead and kick it off. It is May 24th, 2023. This is the Aladdin DAO Community Call. I'm your host, K Metz. I'll be flying solo. Kruger's out. Well, I guess I'm not solo. We got everybody here. But I'll be running this rodeo. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started then, dive into it. We can start off with Clever. Really, not a whole lot to report on Clever this week. It's pretty, all things quiet. Everything's functioning as it normally should, unless something has popped up in the last hour or so that I'm not aware of. So, but all's well there. So yeah. So we'll move right along then into Concentrator. You can expect another booster round soon. We, in speaking with the team, we have a good amount of CTR in the treasury. I want to say like 500,000 or something like that. And so, kind of discussing amongst ourselves that think it'd be a good idea to go ahead and have a couple of additional booster rounds to kind of spread it around a little, and because help support the invested in it. Keep those good threads coming out, and YouTube videos, and everything everybody does to support that program. So keep your eyes peeled. That'll probably be coming out sometime in June, maybe mid-June or thereabouts. But we'll give everybody kind of plenty of heads up on when that'll be coming around.
Yeah. Can I add something here?
Yes, sir.
Keep creating, guys. We need lots of threads and videos and everything.
Oh yeah, and there's lots of good stuff. I mean, it's important to keep that kind of top of people's minds. So it's always good to see. And then we're gonna have a proposal this week on is it this week, Paul, that we're gonna try to get it in?
Yeah, probably tomorrow or on Friday latest.
Okay, yeah, a proposal on Curve to put ASD CRV pool on Polygon, and StakeDAO is going to be voting for that pool with 100,000 SD CRV. So pretty cool for kind of starting to move assets to L2s. And we'll let everybody know when that proposal gets posted to Curve, so folks can chime in and support that. So that'll be coming out this week. And then that's all I had for Concentrator, unless you guys can think of anything. And so kind of like Aladdin, usually we're kind of like, not a whole lot's going on with Aladdin, but this week we kind of have kind of like a cool proposal that's popped up on the community forum, and let me post the link to it here. It was posted by Tao, and I don't think he's on just yet.
No, he's not in yet.
Yeah, but I posted it there in the chat, so everyone can take a look at their own leisure. And I think it's I haven't done a deep dive into it myself yet, but I believe it's sort of like a mild revamp of sort of tokenomics of ALD. So everybody, take a look at it, and please post your thoughts. Right now it's just sort of a temperature gauge. There's no votes or anything like that, I don't believe. It's just to kind of get everyone's thoughts and opinions and see what level of support there is for it. So we just kind of want everybody to chime in, and so please go to the forum and check it out. I believe.
Yeah, so this is an older discussion that we were having with the community to revamp the ALD tokenomics. And yeah, it's great that Tao actually made a post on the forum to kickstart the process. And of course, we want everyone from the community to chime in and to let's build this together. I mean, let's revamp the tokenomics together. And I mean, obviously, we will consider all the feedback we get from you guys. So go ahead and post on, comment on the proposal.
Yeah, I think absolutely, Paul. And the team's been so consumed with getting FX going that we haven't had a chance to really sort of dive into it. So it's fabulous that the community is sort of continuing to think about these things and propose solutions, because the more brains we can get working on stuff, the better it is for everyone, and sort of kind of keeps these things from sinking to the bottom and kind of keeps it on top. So I know lots of folks have been asking about that, so it's really great to kind of have that and keep the discussion going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. All right, and then I think the other thing with Aladdin is we're going to be planning to get a ALD ETH gauge and planning to bribe that pool in the near future on Curve, and so that'll also kind of create some additional demand for the tokens as well. So obviously we'll keep everybody in the loop on that, and as that develops. So keep your eyes posted on that one. So there's a lot going on in terms of new gauges and new additional liquidity. And then I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the star of the show this week, and that's FX. And the big news with that is we're going to be sending out the tokenomics distribution article in the either within the next 24 hours. And so everyone can expect to see that one coming out with all the details in regards to the tokenomics. And there's some interesting things that we've done in terms of the IDO, and kind of one of the big ones is that we'll include not just for the vote escrow tokens, it will be not just the FX, but we'll also be doing an 80/20 LP locking. From I believe it's a balancer pool. Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah. So users, holders of the tokens will be able to lock either FX or, as you said, an 80/20 LP. So 80% FX, 20% ETH LP created on Balancer.
Yeah, and so so there's that. But the the launch it will be in a beta format, and so I've had a lot going on this morning, so you'll have to forgive me. But as far as the launch itself, I believe if I'm correct, Paul, and let me hang on. Let me look. There's there's going to be a community raise of there'll be 2 rounds, and so the first round, we'll have you can purchase FX tokens for I believe it's 0.005 ETH, and then the second round of the beta phase, there will be another amount of tokens that'll be slightly
we haven't determined yet the price for the second round. So the offering will be similar with Clever, yeah. So we are aiming to sell in total 5% of the token supply in 2 tranches or 2 rounds. So the first one will be for a maximum of 3%, which will be like 60,000 tokens, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, similar with Clever, it will be an elastic supply, which means that however many tokens we sell will represent 3% of the total supply of FX, with a maximum cap of 60,000.
Yeah, so we'll have all the details coming out here very, very soon. So everyone can just keep your eyes peeled on that. It should have all the info in there. And if you have additional questions, please feel free to jump in the Discord and ask away, and we'll be happy to answer what we can. I don't know if there's much more that. Let me see. Oh, and so we will be doing a booster program as this one as well for this one as well, and we're going to be doing for 3 years. So it's going to be a much more expanded booster program since those have worked out really well. So I think that's kind of good for everybody really, and good for the protocol. So I'm looking forward to it. That'll be really cool. And then we'll have a vesting of tokens will be sort of featured as part of this, where I believe it's over 12 months that the distribution of tokens. So it's a very controlled sort of distribution of tokens, throughout the kind of the life of the protocol. So should be pretty interesting. A lot of cool little twists there. So like I said, the article will be coming out here in the very near future. So everybody keep your eyes peeled for that. And do you guys have anything else you want to add on that?
Maybe we should explain a little bit about how the beta phase will work.
Yeah. So go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so we are thinking initially to launch in beta mode, which means there won't be liquidity for FETH and XETH. Only the mint and redeem process that will work. So ideally, this will be over 2 to 4 weeks, just to see if everything works as it should, and to assess the interest for the tokens. And after the beta period, we will, as we said, we will conduct the second sale, and then we will add liquidity to Curve probably and Balancer for FX. Also, the TGE for FX will take place only then. So even if you're acquiring tokens in the first sale, you won't get them until the second one. So after the beta mode is over. Yeah.
So that's all explained in the article as well. So it should be pretty clear. But again, if folks have questions or comments or concerns, please reach out on the Discord, and we're happy to discuss and clarify anything that may be of interest to you guys. And gosh, with that, I've speed run through the notes so far. So that's really all that we have. Let me see. Hang on. No, Tal's not here. So Doesn't have a chance to talk about that this morning, but everybody please go and check out the proposal on the Aladdin forum. But I guess with that, Charlene, do I need to keep stalling, or are you good to kind of dive into maybe some debt ceiling talk?
Oh my God, this is so soon. I'm not used to start so early.
I know. I
I'm normally pushed towards the end of the hour, even after the hour.
I know. I'm gonna get
All
scolded
right.
by Kruger.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to ask, maybe someone has any questions before
Yeah. Sure.
you do the deep dive.
Should we post the chart on tokenomics in the chat channel?
Yeah. Bear with me a sec.
So Subli asked, will that be on FX website? Yes.
So there we go. Paul posted the FX distribution. So for those of you who are listening and can't see, we're basically looking at 49% liquidity incentives. 3% is going to go to community contributors or boosters. 10% to the treasury, and then 5% will be the IDO that we were talking about, the one that'll be in the beta phases. We'll have a VE CTR and a VE Clev airdrop of 0.25% each, and then we'll have a TBD of 0.5%, sort of at the discretion of the team to utilize as necessary, and then Aladdin DAO will get their 30%. So the VEX ALD holders will get theirs, and then 1% will be for the initial liquidity, and then 1% for strategic partnerships. So pretty standard for kind of how we do things. Making sure that ALD holders they get a big chunk, and then it's really important for us to see this with liquidity. I think one of the things with FETH that I've talked about, or like I've seen a lot of discussions, is like, well, what's the point in holding FETH? And I think for anyone that's like doing a stable coin, that's one of their big issues, is sort of like adoption, and you kind of have to pay people to hold your token, and that's sort of like where liquidity incentives come from. I mean, that's a big reason why Frax bribes and goes through all the efforts they do to get liquidity everywhere that they can, so that people will hold it. But you have to pay for that unless you're USDC or USDT. Everywhere else, it's kind of like, unless it's like a sort of ideological sort of stance that you have on it, which which would be something like liquidity or something like that. So that's kind of for FETH and even for XETH, it's going to be really important to have a lot of liquidity incentives that will last for a long time, and that's another reason why we went with the sort of the vesting schedule that we did for FX tokens that are given out to people that are liquidity providers, and it's mainly just to incentivize people to put their tokens into a liquidity pool or whatever, and make sure that they're invested in sort of the long term for this. So obviously it's important to make sure that people are getting a competitive rate for holding and using these, and making sure that it serves everyone's benefit. So it'll be interesting to see sort of how it all kind of winds up, and sort of what that looks like when it eventually goes to Curve and to Balancer. But it's important to have plenty of liquidity everywhere, so that everyone can be able to hop in and out as necessary. So that's my best Kruger impression. I don't know. I need some more like Canadian expressions or something to learn, so I can duplicate him as best I can.
Do you want to maybe talk about your thoughts on Excel versus Google Docs for like an hour. We could do that.
I don't think I can get angry enough for that. It's too early for it. I'm gonna need a lot more coffee.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So I think I mean I think that's like sort of the bulk of what to expect in terms of the tokenomics. It'll be pretty standard to what you've seen with Clev and Concentrator for the most part. The VE locks will be for 4 years, so that'll be pretty standard. The big deviation is sort of is the inclusion of the LP as well, and that's mainly just to get inexpensive liquidity on chain. So we've seen a lot of DeFi protocols are sort of moving to that now, and that model, and so it appears to be a very positive move. So we're just trying to you just try to take what's good from other protocols and incorporate them into yours, and leave out the bad. So
Yeah, even here we have like a nice twist of incorporating both. We'll
Mhm.
make that public in the next weeks, because we said it wouldn't be fair to have only LP as VLOC, so we are looking to have both options.
yeah, I think it's good for flexibility for folks, and kind of what
Indeed.
they yeah, exactly. So yeah, Charlie and I have stalled as best I can on my own.
All right, let's get into this debt ceiling talk. Yes, debt ceiling agreement still hasn't been reached by now. We have very little time left. I thought about all this again, right? And we can't rule out the possibility that that ceiling cannot be raised on time. And the plot needs to be dramatic enough to make the market believe, right? US Treasury bonds have the best credit rating in the world and have never defaulted in history. But we haven't seen a black swan in the past. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? And it will not show up one day. And if there is a technical default on US Treasury bonds, how do you think the market will react to this? Do you guys want to have a guess? We'll have a bull market?
Well,
When
usually
Wilbur
after the
comes
black
back?
swan,
I'm
bull
pretty
market
sure there won't
follows.
be a bull market. So
Right, well, no.
Charlene, would a
Mm.
technical default, does that mean that the like
That
no
means they
payments?
default, right, for a couple of weeks. Yeah, for a couple of weeks, and then drag on back and forth, right, with all this political drama, right, and then they reach agreement, right, and just make delayed payments, right. That's
And-
most likely
And what's happening
going
with
to
the
happen
treasury
if
bills
they
and
default.
everything in case of a default?
Well, if they default, I think eventually it will be paid, right? But you just drag on for whatever come to maturity, are going to just get delay payment.
Right. So again, normal stables are not safe.
Yeah. So I think it's technical default, right? Because people know they will not just have a real default, right? But it's a technical default. So people will get paid eventually, right? But this will, right, put the market into panic, right? That's enough, right, to achieve that purpose. So if that default, right, you think about, right, the best bonds in the world, right, default. What happened to all the other sovereign and non-sovereign bonds, right, and everything else? So it will trigger market panic and global sell-off, right? So, but remember, the market, right? At least the people, professional, right, investors who know how the market work, is aware that the default is temporary, right? And where do you think capital will flow into? Dollar and gold, right?
Mhm.
So, so people may question, it's so stupid, right, for the treasury to default. and it will hurt American people and institutions. Well, there's no perfect solution, right? So, the exceptions are everywhere in war and in financial markets. And if the perceived benefits outweigh costs, this could be a good solution, right? To send dollar strong again, right? Protect dollar, right? That's the most important thing, right? And and by the time U.S. Treasury bond default, right, the dollar will attract, capital inflow, from all the markets globally. And in conclusion, right, so, we just can't ignore the risk of debt ceiling. It's not a risk on time, right? And it may happen. And we don't need to predict. We can't anyway. We just need to be the first, group of people, right? First few people to confirm the event and react promptly. And I'll focus on this, right, before we decide the next move. That's it.
So Charlene, with I know Janet Yellen has, the Treasury Secretary, has sent out a letter to, I think Congressman and the President about the X date, which is, I guess, their anticipated default. And I think, and you might be able to speak to it better, is was it JP Morgan that also put out sort of an X date, and they're within probably about a week of each other. And I'm just curious, is that like political posturing? Are they just kind of is it a bluff, or is that like, a realistic sort of anticipation for, because I'm watching sort of the US Treasury bills for like the May and June, and it's kind of crazy to watch it, but I'm just kind of curious, like, how much is that accurate info that we can sort of like utilize, or does nobody know the X date?
Well, I think, Janet Yellen can definitely calculate the date the government is running out of money, right?
Yeah.
And that should be accurate information, right? And I think they're getting prepared, for the process.
Interesting. Gosh.
Yeah. It's if under normal circumstances, right? There's no way U.S. government would default, right? But you think about it, we are under a very, very special market window, right? We probably don't get this kind of, market situation like for every 15, 20 years, right? We are just at the edge of, pulling the trigger. And then maybe this is the trigger.
So
this is
yeah.
used as the trigger, right?
So Charlene, if the U.S. government defaults, if they have a technical default, like you're saying, would that basically, and that would send the markets into a panic, like you were saying, would that basically be like the Fed has no choice at that point but to, they can't raise rates anymore. I can't imagine that they would be tightening into that, right?
I'm not sure about that.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah, you see some of the Fed official, right, came out last week and even talk about we should do at least a 1 to 2 more rates. Right? I think their objective is very clear, right? Just, strong dollar. Strong dollar is, the goal here, because strong dollar, right? Safe haven assets, everything, flood into dollar, right? That's the objective. Everything else comes second.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, that's just my hypothesis. It may not happen that way, but from what I have seen, everything they're trying to do is to get a strong dollar out there, right? And to attract capital inflow.
So if the market was to panic, you were saying that basically all the capital flight would be into like dollars and gold. Wouldn't that achieve that end then without even the raising of the rates?
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to get, right?
Yeah.
But the execution of the Fed and the system haven't been very smooth, right, for this cycle so far. Right. In previous cycles, whenever we moved into a US dollar strengthening cycle, right? Capital just float to, the US dollar, right? To US dollar based assets, right? But it hasn't been happening like that for this cycle, right? It's a relative, strength of the economy, right? Compared to the rest of the world. I think that's shifting, right? So they definitely need some, special measurement mechanism, right, to get to that strong dollar, um, status. Because that's, the purpose of every US dollar strengthening cycle, right? The US interest rate, moves up, right? And in theory, US dollar should go up at the same time, right? And the capital around the world fly to the US, right? And so, if you have this capital inflow, a lot of pressure, domestically will be relieved, right? Where the money go is, I think, is critical, for this game. So, so this debt ceiling thing can be used as the trigger for that. And we shouldn't rule out that possibility.
Yeah, it's definitely, sort of outside my realm of expertise, but just talking with sort of friends and folks I know, there's that you could sort of tell the tension has been heightened. Just everyone that I know that's kind of depending on sort of like Medicare or Social Security payments or what have you, because nobody really knows if the U.S. government's going to start prioritizing. I guess they'll have to start prioritizing payments or whatever, but it's certainly going to be, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm very tired of living in unprecedented times.
I don't think the U.S. government is still the strongest, right? With the strongest military support, right? And and the economy is definitely still the best, right, for the world. And just a temporary thing, right? And that's just a thing probably will be used and needed, right, to really pull the trigger, right, to end this whole cycle game.
I'm curious, it's kind of funny, when just to kind of like bring FETH into this a little bit. It's always kind of interesting. Like I've been thinking about it this week, and sort of the more you peg your stablecoin to the US dollar, the more you implicitly are stating that you want your stablecoin to essentially follow the monetary policy of the United States.
Yeah, of
And
course.
yeah, and so when you take something like FETH and you separate it and you give it sort of that free float away from the U.S. dollar, you're basically it's kind of like we're almost making a wave goodbye to the U.S. dollar and the United States monetary policy, so that things like this would not have, like Paul was saying earlier, this could be another DPEG event for USDC. You never know, and so
Very likely. Very likely. You are right.
yeah. So it's
You
important.
have nowhere to hide, right? The system
Yeah.
is broke.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I guess it's just in crypto in general, we're always going to have to be going through these cycles where we learn the hard way where centralization issues are, in our systems, and where we have to sort of bifurcate our systems or separate them from that. And so this is just our moment to sort of everyone just be like, all right, time to wave
move on.
goodbye to the dollar and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think when we had this chat with CurveCap last Friday, right?
Mhm.
We talk about this. I think there's one important piece missing for DeFi and this money Legos world is I know the fiat US dollar stablecoin is very important for DeFi today, right? But it's anchored to the US economy. It's not anchored to the crypto economy, right? Because the basic monetary theory is the supply of the money has to be elastic, right, with the economy itself, right? And so
Yeah.
there's a bunch of theory, right, built around this, right? One of the most well known is, this Ivan Fisher theory, right, on, equation of exchange, right? Fisher's equation, MV equal to PQ, right? That's very well known and has been, proven, like over many, many years, right? What it tells us is M is money supply in the economy. V is velocity of circulation of money. Meant the other side of the equation, P is price, Q is quantity, right? And the PQ together is just the economic output, GDP, right? So a real stablecoin for an economy should have its money supply, its supply elastic to its economic growth, right? And so regardless of how popular fiat USD stablecoin is today, right, it's anchored to US economy. It's determined by P, Q, and V of US economy. Right. Of course, it's not strictly determined by Fisher's algorithm because it's, the supply is also manipulated by the central bank whenever it's needed. Right. So for the crypto economy, right, it's we are here to believe crypto economy is going to be one of the largest economy in the world one day, right? Probably bigger than everything, in the physical economy. Right. And we have to have, money supply, stablecoin supply anchored to the crypto economy. And there's no stablecoin really doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
That was, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
And go ahead.
Yeah, and FETH is doing that.
Yeah, and I think,
Right.
for a lot of folks, the stablecoin, it's that, stablecoins serve the role of escaping volatility, and so you need that. So
Yeah. So FETH, I think that's really serves, like important piece of the money Lego needed for the crypto economy, right? And its growth going to be powered by Ethereum's native economic growth, right? And let people to share, right, to get a share of Ethereum's long-term growth potentials.
yeah,
And of course, we can go into multi-collateral model later on, right? And to just support a broader crypto economy scope of crypto economy.
yeah, it will be interesting to see what winds up being adopted in terms of ETH and liquid stake derivatives is sort of like the I'm not even sure if I want to call it the reserve currency, but something similar to that. The base asset by which everything else is measured. I guess you could look at LSDs or whatever as like a treasury bond on ETH or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
pretty fascinating stuff. All right.
So yeah, let's see if Tao is here.
Yeah. Hey, Tao. Do you Charlene, were you finished with your macro?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Hey, Tao, would you like to hop on real quick and maybe mention anything about your proposal that you posted to ALD? If not, that's okay as well. But you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and hop up on stage and maybe speak to it a little bit if you have a chance. But if not, that's okay as well. We are happy to discuss it on the forum. Oh,
Oh,
there
sorry.
he is.
Sorry.
No worries.
I was holding my baby, so I was
Oh.
mute myself.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, would you like to
Yeah,
speak to your proposal?
Oh yeah. So basically, I have some ideas regarding to like do some tokenomic for the ALD. The main purpose is every time I want to like marketing the ALD or the whole economics, it's hard to targeting, right? You will say, oh, buy Clever or buy Concentrator, right? Then there are a lot of action you need to do. But actually, ALD have a lot of good product, and I think we need to like reorganize the tokenomic for the ALD, then which will help the new coming, right? So they will understand if you want like how do I say? If you want like cash flow, then you might just buy the Clever, then be a VE token, then you get the weekly income, right? But if you want a long-term investment, you want the Aladdin DAO to handle the investment for you, then buy the ALD. It will be the best way. But now I saw the connection between the ALD and the Clever and the Concentrator is not that clear. So it might confusing the people. So that's why I would propose this new tokenomics. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess, and I haven't done a deep dive into it, but it sounds like sort of a revamp of how ALD interacts with sort of Concentrator and Clever or whatever products that Aladdin provides. Is
Yeah.
that sort of the basics of it? Okay.
Yeah, it's more like I will consider the ALD will be the Berkshire Hathaway, right? You just buy it, right? You don't care about inside of this. Inside of this, it's a Geico or it's other oil company, right? You don't have to know all the details, right? You just buy, then you trust them, then it will be getting all the value you can get. So it's simple, right?
I
Right
got you.
now it's like yeah, and also the DeFi is very complicated, and I feel like most of the user for the concentrator Clever, it's just the DeFi people. It's not getting all the attention from other people. Maybe some DeFi people or maybe some other mini lover. We should like make it much easier for them to join us, right?
Yeah, I think that's those are all like pretty positive statements, and I think to speak to your point on sort of the complexity of DeFi, I think having sort of like a mutual fund sort of type of
Yeah.
product or vehicle, which I guess is sort of kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
It basically it allows you. I mean, my goodness, you can spend so much time like reading white papers and going to websites and reading docs, and well, you have to be on Twitter, and if you're not on Twitter, you don't find out about like the latest airdrops or what's sort of the newest
Yeah,
what's going on Arbitrum or Optimism or whatever, and instead you just like, okay, well, the Aladdin folks really seem like they know what they're doing, and instead of I guess having for me to doing all the work, it sounds like they've got a group of contributors that really are passionate about it and will take care of it, and they seem like they know what they're doing. So I can just buy ALD and then just stake it and then just
exactly.
kind of walk away. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And another idea is, for example, the last time the voting regarding the Clever, right? When with the Clever, some people want, oh, I just want a CVX. I want a pure CVX. I don't want any wrapper, right? Because keep it simple. But if you are the Aladdin ALD holder, you were thinking the whole portfolio, right? So you will say, oh, maybe I don't want to weekly farming my CVX. I want you guys to continue to reinvest my CVX, right? Because the VE Clever holder and the ALD holder might have a different mindset. So that's why I want to clarify, right? If you want a weekly income, right, cash flow, then you go to the individual protocol. If you want a long-term investment, you go to ALD. And also the ALD should be a parent company for both Clever and the Concentrator and the FX, right? So different protocol have a different stage. It might be the early stage, they need a lot of seeding. It might be in the a mature stage, they getting a lot of cash flow, right? So Aladdin DAO should be like a help, right? Just like Amazon. Amazon using the retail income to help the AWS, right? I think it's like 6 or 8 years. It's all the it's not make any profit. But later on, AWS become the most profit component of the Amazon to help the Amazon stock going up a lot. So I think make the ALD more strong or more treasure, it will be helping the whole ecosystem, right? To incubate more in-house protocol or anything else, right? So that's why I would say another point I want to call out, because I feel like ALD is always undervalued. Every time I want to promote my friends to buy ALD, I will tell them, okay, calculate the market cap for the Clever, calculate the market cap of the concentrator, then check out the ALD, right? It's much under value. So that's why I thought that we should make the ALD go back to a normal value. It should be, right? Then it will be good for the whole community. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's interesting that you make that comment about the market cap. I can remember there's a there's a Convex website actually that a community member made that actually shows the intrinsic value of Convex by basically taking the price of the amount of VECRV that each Convex hold or that each vote lock Convex holds, as well as the VEFX tokens as well. And it's Convex has been undervalued for a while, but that might be a cool metric to just show on the web page as well. But I'm just kind of spitballing here. I'm just
Yeah, but the only difference is it's not like 30% of the ALD will be the same of the 30% of Clever, right? Because ALD don't spend as much money to get like 30% of the new protocol. So actually the value should be higher than that, right? But even use the simple math, it's still undervalued, then it should not be the right way. So yeah.
Yeah, well, hey man, thanks for hopping on and kind of walking everybody through your proposal ideas. Really appreciate it, and thanks for going through the trouble of spelling this out for everybody and giving everybody a chance to comment on it and kind of get a temperature check on it. So like I said, I haven't done a deep dive on it, but I'm looking forward to reading it, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness towards it, and sort of it's obvious you're very concerned about sort of the health and well-being of the protocols in general. So that's always good to see, and have community participation as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I feel like the community is very nice and welcome. So yeah, just give me any comment, suggestion. I just want to start the conversation first, right? Then everyone can start to talk about this topic. Then we might move something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier before you jumped on that, it's kind of easy for everybody, with all the FX is kind of like the star of the show right now, but ultimately, the DAO is the one that makes a lot of the decisions. It will be the largest token holder of it, and so we have to ensure the health of ALD in general to make sure that we can keep funding projects and keep moving things forward, and paying core team members and devs and all that sort of stuff. And so it's important to always keep that top of mind. So really do appreciate you thinking about that and submitting that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we've covered anything, unless anybody else has anything that they need to shout out or get off their chest. But I guess with that, everybody just keep an eye on. Oh, Charlene, were you going to say something?
Yeah. I think since we have Cody on the call, we'll get, Cody to shed some light on what he thinks on the crypto market.
Ooh, yeah, number go up, Cody.
Always goes up, especially the debt number.
Oh dear.
I was worried you're gonna say that, Charlie, because I don't really have anything for it, to be honest with you. I think market's kind of still the same in my eyes, and then like you were talking about with all the debt ceiling and default action, I think that's mostly going to be the drivers here. But I think, like you said, I think it's pretty unlikely that the U.S. government like actually defaults. I don't think that'll really ever happen because that would be catastrophic for pretty much the whole world. So yeah, I don't really think that is a huge thing to worry about, but there could be some interesting effects in the short term. Hopefully, not too many people have crazy exposure to T-bills in the short term. But again, I think the government's not going to default on those, not going to actually default on those because it would be really, really catastrophic. So yeah, I don't think there's that much to worry about really. It's mostly just political nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it trickles through the various markets because I'm never really quite sure because when we went through sort of like the banking crisis in March, the price of Bitcoin went up, which was surprising, and so I don't know how the crypto markets in general will.
It's hard to say. Like I think some assets definitely went up during that because at least from my standpoint, I think you had a little bit of a flight to basically non-stable assets because those were the ones with the risk at that moment. You know what I mean? Like what options did you really have if you were holding USDC and you wanted to take off some risk? Like you're kind of like DAI doesn't really work because it's mostly USDC, and most of the other stables have their own sort of slew of issues. So I think you were like basically Bitcoin, ETH, or whatever major thing that you would assume isn't going to collapse in the meantime. So maybe there's a similar effect if it hasn't been that way already, which I don't think we really see anything too pronounced. But so it could be, but I don't know that it'll be like a major driver, to be honest. Like I don't know if there's that many people that actually take the default seriously. Because again, I don't think there's really any remote chance of the U.S. government actually defaulting on the debt. Like, especially like short-term treasuries are basically like the savings vehicle for most of the world right now, and most of the the American public and things like that. It would be catastrophic if they defaulted on that stuff.
Yeah. I think there's nothing really to worry about fundamentally for long term, right? But there could be, short term damages, right? So things could be volatile in the secondary market across all asset classes, and to just be careful and stay safe.
Yeah,
Cody. So I guess with sort of what you're saying, it's sort of a sit tight sort of a situation, but. I mean, do you foresee? I mean, like with this situation, like would it cause more stablecoin depegs, is that kind of like behind us? I mean, or is it hard to say? I don't know.
I guess it's hard to say. Like it could, but again, like a stablecoin depeg, especially in like a USDC scenario, it as long as like it's not like banking rails are going to fail there, or I don't know. I think you still should have the mint and redeem functionality, and that if that's still online, then there's not really a whole lot of reason to like be screaming about a depeg, in my opinion. Though I don't know if the government defaults, if that really affects it, and I don't know exactly what like USDC's composition is right now, but I would imagine that they've taken a pretty conservative approach, especially since the banking crisis. So yeah, there's always a chance, I guess, with these things, but I'm not like, for example, like shedding a bunch of risk because of this.
Yeah, it's there's a lot up in the air.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question, right? Say if the fiat US stable coins blow up again next month because the backend banks blow up. If you want to hold low volatility assets, what do you want to hold most? What's your choice? What's your top choice?
I mean, my answer is it sounds like there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights for some of us that are going to be working pretty hard.
The top choice is FEs, right?
Yeah.
What else you can
Yes.
hold, right? It's only FEs.
Does seem like a good scenario.
Yeah. Maybe we should post that on Twitter as a survey.
Yeah, I think people still have a hard time sort of wrapping their head around, getting away from the dollar as the peg, and like how important the peg is, and it's, you're really having to ask people to sort of kind of like change their mindset a little bit, and because instead of focusing on the peg, sort of focusing on the low volatility, because that's ultimately what folks are after, I think.
Yeah, people will be educated right through this crisis.
It's a tough way to learn.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I think we've covered everything for today, and we are right at an hour. So everybody, I guess, keep your eyes on Twitter and Discord. We'll be releasing the tokenomics article. Probably, I'll say within the next 12 hours, 24 hours, or something like that. Just in the event we have to, fix a typo or something. But other than that, everybody just keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll keep you clued in with anything else. And if you have any questions, please jump in the Discord, and please go look at the proposal on the ALD forum. We'll post that as well in the Discord. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for joining
Thank you,
us.
guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
See you later.
See you next
Bye.
week again. Bye.
Bye.